peeps. I thought I would record a book, witchy and non-witchy book chat video with you guys. It's very cold here today for August, like very cold. It's kind of rainy, but not really, like a little bit of a mist, and it's gray, and it's just one of those days where, you know, you need to have a good cup of tea and you need to sit down with a good book. And I was watching some of my favorite booktubers, and I was like, today is the day I should sit down and I should talk about books with my peeps, just kind of share what I've been purchasing lately. And, you know, I'm kind of preparing here for my official move into my new place, which I'm very excited about. So spent a lot of time the last couple days when I haven't been working, or Vincent and I haven't been doing something together, kind of like packing up things here at my friend's home. And I think packing and moves always bring about times of reflection and like emotional time. It's just emotional. It's reflective and it's emotional, and it feels a little bit raw and vulnerable. So I'm definitely in that kind of mood today. And I thought, what better day to talk about books for that? I'm also nailless so that I don't damage my nail bed during the moving time period that comes about here as we move, as we get closer to mid-September, which is when my move is scheduled for. Yeah, so I'm currently nailless, which feels very, very weird. As you guys know, most of the time I have my nails. So I can feel just the energy culminating for the next chapter of my life that's starting. And it's something really beautiful. And it also leads to a lot of reflection and like an understanding of parts of yourself that you're saying goodbye to, right? So book-wise, I have some witchy books. So I think I'll start with witchy books so that for those of you who are only here for the witchy content, you can click off sooner in the video and you don't have to wait around. And then I have non-witchy books and some poetry books to share that I will do after that. My son Vincent and I have so been enjoying going on Mom and Vincent dates to the bookstore. And we don't really have like a local independent bookseller here where we currently are in New Hampshire. So we've been making like the 45-minute drive down to Barnes and Noble's, and it's been really fun to see the books he's choosing because his taste is changing as he's getting older, and he loves to read just like I do. And he's also really into Pokemon cards right now, and Barnes and Noble's definitely caters to that as well. So we have just been having so much fun going to the bookstore together. And this is kind of a funny little side meandering story here, but when you're a single parent and you do when you go, like, let's say you go to the store with your kid, right? And they're little, you don't leave them alone and go do your own thing. But Vincent's finally getting old enough where I know where the children's section is in the store, and so he's able to go have that experience himself, and I'm over in my area where I can still kind of see him, but we're a little bit separate and he has his own space. That's been like a really big milestone for us, that like he's old enough now to go ahead and do that and be safe in that experience and environment. And it's been really fun to see him and his independence with that, and to be able to share that around a love of books together, kind of like meet up in the store after a certain time and like share what we both found that we loved and talk about what we can get in our budget for that day. And there's a Starbucks and Barnes and Nobles too, so we'll often get a little snack or something. And I don't know, it's just been really, really fun, like a really bright spot for me this summer in all of the kind of unexpected transitions in my life has been the bookstore with Vincent. So I actually have a lot of books on this list right now. There are a lot of books here. I have not read all of these books, so I can't speak to if they're amazing or not, but they certainly piqued my interest and I wanted to dive into them. So witchcraft wise, I am going to also be uploading and unboxing today of October Occult's new candles, and she sent bookmarks with my purchase. So I'm very excited to give these a home in some of the new books that I have. I'm just obsessed. I love bookmarks. I had a lover once who used to make me bookmarks. Like, he would draw them, and I have to say that may have been one of my most favorite gifts ever. And he would kind of surprise me with them, and it was, yeah, that like tops my list of romantic things partners have done in the past. So okay, I don't know where to start, because I'm so happy now that we're talking about books, because I really do view books as my best friends. And I've had some debate with you guys over the years around, I love to write in my books. I love to write notes, or I'll put, you know, if I don't know a word, I'll look it up and I'll write that down. Or if I think there's a tarot card association to something, I'll make a note in the oh my goodness, guys, in the side of the book. I know that I know the word, the correct terminology there for that, and it's gone right now. Oh well. Anyhow, I love to mark up my books and write notes in them and write things that it reminds me of, or if I feel inspired, I might write little bits of poetry myself within them. I love that. I have friends and many viewers who are like, books are hallowed things, how can you do that? But I consider them to be best friends. They come with me everywhere. When I realized that I was going to have to move in July, I made a promise to myself, and I refused that for this move, I was not donating any books. I cannot tell you the amount of books I have donated over the last 10 years in the different moves that my son and I have had to make. And then I've had to repurchase those books. And I was like, I don't care. I'm not doing it again this time. I'm not donating any books. So I've only added to my book collection over the last 2 months. So when I go to move into the new apartment, and I have an idea. I'm actually like, the new place is pretty special, guys. Vincent and I think it is. It's special for us, but I have an area where I want to record. And I'm sorry, guys, that pollen's really high here today. So just give me 1 sec. My throat's kind of dry. I have one area where I really want to set up for recording, and I want to do all of my books behind me there, because I really did like that in the last apartment when I was able to be out in the spring and summer location to shoot there. So I've got some plans, but I have to get another bookshelf because I have so many books now. But anyhow, I digress. I just love books. And when you're out of your comfort zone, an altar and a stack of books and a statue of Isis or Venus or Lilith are what get me through. So these guys have just been my best friends. And even the ones I haven't read, they're beautiful. And I just feel like I'm surrounded by love when I have books around me. So I did want to share, I did find, and this was at Barnes & Noble. So if you like this, I don't know, it might be still available there. Like, I think Vincent and I went maybe 2 weeks ago and I got this. This beetle journal. Isn't this so sweet? Look at that. It's so not my lectern, which, by the way, Barnes & Noble's has lectern journals. So I just about died because, oh, my journal's in the other room. I'm almost done with the green journal that I started, which, if you are on Patreon with me, you guys got to decorate that journal with me here. So I've finished an entire lectern journal in under 2 months. That's how intense and powerful this time of transition has been for me. But anyhow, I decided to not buy another lectern journal at Barnes & Noble's. I decided to wait and to try this little guy out. It's a pretty slim journal, so it's not going to take me long to fill this one up, but it's so pretty. It's a little bit bigger than a lectern, and it's entitled Beetles Letterpress Print, and it's made in Italy. There is the publishing house if you're interested in that. But I thought it was so beautiful, and I just kind of have it set up over here because it's just so sweet. So okay, so that's a journal. I'm considering that to be witchy because that's such a powerful part of my magic. So let's talk witchy books first. I have to say, guys, I have had I have been so inspired by my students this summer. And I did have someone ask me, like, you talk about having students, how do you go about becoming a student of, how does one find out how to become a student of mine? You become a student if you purchase a tarot mentoring package. I have 2 options available on the Etsy shop. The link is in the description box down below. Or if you purchase a shadow work package, then you are one of my students. And, you know, even though we call it a tarot mentoring package, over the last year, I've had a lot of students who are actually studying witchcraft. So I am going to create, once I have some time to sit down and create that, another offering at the same price point that's witchcraft focused. But right now, if you purchase a tarot mentoring package, even if you want to focus on witchcraft, I craft and create outlines for each student that's unique to each student. So I don't like do cookie cutter tarot mentorships. I'm not that kind of teacher. I didn't train under those kind of teachers, and I don't want to be a cookie cutter. Like, I think if you're investing at the price point that my mentorship packages are at, you should get personalized experience. So every outline is unique, and every course study material collection is unique for each student. But my students have really inspired me this year to look and research and study and explore, like, outside of my usual go-to when it comes to witchcraft. And I've really found a lot of similarities. I think I'm leaning more towards a desire to not label myself based on some of the research that I've done on other labels of witchcraft. But I'm really inspired by what exists for paths inside of certain labels, if that makes sense. So I've purchased some books just for mentorships. As I said, the Conjuring Dirt book by Taren, which I found such a bomb, such an affirmation of my type of practice, so inspiring. And so I recently purchased the Crossroads Witchcraft, the Ingredients book by Taren, which my understanding is it gives you like all of the ingredients, the tools, a little more about the structure of the tools and the craft that she breaks down in Conjuring Dirt. So I'm almost done reading this book, and I will be kind of perusing this one. I'm very excited about that. I like that she has sections to write notes in, because like I said, I like to mark up my books, and associations and various like ritual outlines and tools and recipes. So if you like this book, I think you might really enjoy this. I haven't read this through. I'm almost done with this, and I highly recommend Conjuring Dirt. So that is a witchy book that I am really enjoying. The other witchy, let's see, I do have another one though. Okay, there it is. Another witchy book that I purchased was the second installment in Jasmyne Ambrosia's series, and this is the Book of Spirits, the Lesser Liber Spiritus. Now, Jasmine did send me an online PDF of this book for free, but I chose to purchase the physical copy myself because I have the physical copy that I purchased myself of her first book in this series, Jasmine's Book of Witch Flight, and I really enjoyed that. And so this is associations and entities and various ways to work with them. This is really meaty. What can I show you that won't give away the other books on my list? Well, let me show you. So here's Conjuring Dirt, and here's the size of this one. So if you are new to witchcraft, or you're looking to explore working with entities, working within different realms of etheric witchcraft, energetic witchcraft, you might really enjoy having this. It's definitely meant to complement the first book, so I wouldn't only purchase this. I would encourage you to purchase the first one and purchase this to go along with it. This you can get on Amazon. I will put the link in the description box down below, but I am enjoying perusing that at this point in time. The other book that I got, again, because of a student, like I said, I've really been being pushed out of my comfort zone, is Damien Eccles' Angels and Archangels, A Magician's Guide. I'm very interested personally as well over the winter. I think I want to kind of engage and explore this, and I'd like to use Notoria, the Notoria deck by Fabio Listrani in conjunction with this book. So this is an occult ceremonial magician's way of working with angels and archangels. And so I'm very intrigued to hear this author's voice. From what I was reading in the reviews, it sounds very interesting. And I am working with this for a student who is wanting to engage in some ceremonial witchcraft in their practice. So it says, I don't want to read the whole thing because it's quite lengthy and my throat is not 100% today. It says, for the magician or anyone seeking to enlist helping forces on the path of awakening, invoking angels and archangels gives you access to a potent gateway for manifestation, healing, and spiritual growth. In this information-packed guide, Damien shares his unique understanding and experience of magical practices refined in the crucible of his wrongful death row imprisonment. It's an essential source for every magical library, an invitation by one of the most exciting modern teachers of the art to discover the enormous potential waiting for your call. So I'm really intrigued to read this, and I think it will be a nice study for me in the immediate for my student and holding space for that, but over the winter to kind of dive into, and my hope is to work with it in conjunction with Lestrani's Notoria deck. I have not read this yet though, so I can't speak to if it's good or not, but that is on my witchy stack of things to read. So did I cover all things witchy? Yes. Okay. So let's talk non-witchy books now, and we'll finish up with poetry. So I really wanted to kind of like get out of my own head when I read right now, because there is so much transition, and I'm sure many of you have also been through this yourself when your system is trying to regulate anxiety over change, and also wanting to create security and stability for your loved ones in your life. Sometimes it's helpful not to there are certain like genres in reading that I find it helpful to really allow me to relax in my downtime, which I honestly have not had much of over the last few months. So I wanted books that were like thrillers, horror, murder mystery, that kind of thing, as opposed to something like romance full on, or something that's more like heavy on the drama. I've been wanting to do something different. And when we were at Barnes & Noble's, I saw Preston Child's newest book, which this is not the newest book in the Pendergast series. But before Vincent was born, I was obsessed with the Pendergast series by Preston and Child. And I have I'm like 7 books behind now, I think, in the series. So I purchased a few so that I could get caught up to the new book, which I did not purchase yet because I figured I'll purchase each as I'm going, and then by the time I get caught up to the 2024 new release, that will be in paperback and be a little bit cheaper for me to purchase anyhow. So this is City of Endless Night, and in this one there's a serial killer, and Pendergast and D'Agosta are working together to figure out who it is. I love Pendergast. So I love an intelligent, mysterious man. And if you love Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal in the NBC TV series, which I have probably watched 35 times now, for real, no joke, Pendergast is not at all in any way a carbon copy of Hannibal, but he has that same essence of being very intelligent, very mysterious. And when I first started reading the Pendergast series, and Pendergast used, and his name is Aloysius, which, hello. Anyhow, when Pendergast first used a memory palace as an aid for him to find one of the murderers, I was like, I'm here for this guy. I love this guy. I want to know. I'm here for the length of this series. And it was such an affirmation for me, like as a budding witch at that time in my practice. Like I hadn't even done my Reiki or my shamanic trainings when I first started the Pendergast series, but I was already working with an inner temple, which was honestly something I've been doing my whole life. It's just I had the ability to put it into a framework. And Pendergast's memory palace like really was just, I don't know, I just remember reading that and feeling such a kinship to Pendergast. So I love the Pendergast series, but after I had Vincent, I just got very busy, and thrillers for a little while they weren't holding my attention the way that like Dostoevsky was at that time. So I was more in like a different space. So I honestly like just had not thought about Pendergast in a while. I will often reread Cabinet of Curiosities, which is my favorite book in the series. And I've always had that and kept that in the collection and had to rebuy it over the years. But I'm really, really enjoying, as you can see, I'm almost done with this book now. I'm really, really enjoying catching up on that series. So that will be something that I continue to catch up on over the fall and winter for sure. So then I did see that Amazon had some classics on sale for a very, very reasonable price with gilded edging and pages that remind me of the Bibles that I had growing up. And I decided to purchase Edith Wharton's Age of Innocence. I love the Scorsese film Age of Innocence with Daniel Day-Lewis and Michelle Pfeiffer and Winona Ryder. It's a gorgeous, beautiful movie. And I've always loved Edith Wharton. My mother, her favorite book ever was Ethan Frome, which says everything about my mother. And so I grew up reading Edith Wharton. And so I've read this book many times, but I really liked this particular edition. I think it was $11 on Amazon. So Age of Innocence is also one that I purchased. I haven't started rereading it right now, but it's just enjoyable and comforting to have that book's presence in my life. Another book that I did purchase on Amazon, not at Barnes & Noble's, was Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I did publish this for just the way that the book looks. And also, my mother loves Shakespeare, so I'm familiar with Shakespeare. And just the special edition packaging. Let's be real. But it is a retelling of Lady Macbeth. Or excuse me, it's a retelling of Macbeth, but it's a reimagining of Lady Macbeth. And it's telling her story. And I was very interested in that. I've been watching a lot of documentaries on very intelligent, smart women who have been categorized as difficult, but really who are just brilliant in their own right, and really feeling a kinship to those kind of energies and like trying to understand and define who I am as a woman in my 40s now going forward and how I want to move through the world. And I thought that this like really dovetailed with that, as well as aesthetically, it's just beautiful, even though I don't really like hot pink. So this is Ava Reid's Lady Macbeth. Again, it's a reimagining of the character Lady Macbeth from Shakespeare's Macbeth, because I know someone's going to crucify me for not saying that right. And I'm intrigued to see how this one plays out. It had really good reviews on Amazon, so we will see. We'll see. Let's see, what else did I get here? So these two books I actually purchased at Barnes & Noble's on my date with Vincent, and I'm very excited to read both of these books. This is by, I apologize if I mispronounce the author's name, Olivia Blake. And she also wrote Atlas 6, which is in my book collection. And this is all about, I'm going to read the back to you guys. So this is also like a fancy edition because it has the purple edged pages. So it says, there is a game that the immortals play. There's only one rule: don't lose. Viola Merrick is a struggling real estate agent and a vampire. But her biggest problem currently is that the house she needs to sell is haunted. The ghost haunting the mansion has been murdered, and until he can solve the mystery of how he died, he refuses to move on. Fox D'Amore is a medium, and though he is almost definitely a shameless fraud, he isn't entirely without his uses, seeing as he's actually the godson of death. When Viola seeks out Fox to help her with the ghost infestation, he becomes inextricably involved in a quest that neither he nor Vi expects or wants. But with the help of an unruly poltergeist, a demonic personal trainer, a sharp-voiced angel, a love-stricken reaper, and a few mindfulness-practicing creatures, Vi and Fox soon discover that the difference between a mysterious lost love and an annoying dead body isn't nearly as distinct as they thought. And I thought it sounded really good. And I love like V.E. Schwab's series. I love Leigh Bardugo's series. And I just felt like the vibe of this was something that I would really enjoy and would be like something I could sink my teeth into and just like not worry about adult stresses and just enjoy getting carried away with a book. So this is the one I haven't started yet, because it's like, okay, read some other books, get some more pages under your belt, and then thoroughly enjoy this one. And this book requires like a few evenings with some gorgeous candles that are scented, which I cannot light in my friend's home, so I need to wait for that. Go check out my unboxing if you want to hear about that. This book it just cries for, and it needs some beautiful scented candles and some incense going and a delicious gin and tonic and just like hours to enjoy in a hot tub like a tub full of steaming hot water with beautiful bath salts in it. And like that's my goal when I get to my new apartment. And this is going to be the book I enjoy that with. So I haven't started this yet, but I'm very excited too. Okay, the other book is Jen Silverman's There's Going to Be Trouble, and this is a total departure from what I normally read because it's political, and it is set in, I believe, a few different countries. So the main protagonist is apolitical, then she gets involved in 1968 with this other person who I believe is her lover, and politics comes into her life. And it says... Minnow's and Keene's intertwining stories take us through the turmoil of the late 60s student movements and into the chaos of the modern world. Exploding with suspense, heart, and intelligence, There's Going to Be Trouble is a story about revolution, legacy, passionate love, and how we live with the consequences of our darkest secrets. And I thought aesthetically it's gorgeous. Let's be real, this is beautiful. I am a Taurus Sun and a Taurus Venus, so this kind of stuff always matters to me. But I also thought it was a real departure for me from what I typically read. And so I'm like, I think I'd like to dive into something that kind of takes me out of my usual milieu and pushes me a little bit. So the other two books on my list, one of these I got at Barnes & Noble's, one of these I got on Amazon. One of my very dear friends is reading this, The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Lind. I believe it is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. This is a very beautiful special edition. So yeah, you know that your girl got that. I mean, oh man, they really cater to Tauruses with these special editions, man. I cannot help myself. There's like a special edition of a book and I have to get it. So this is going to be like escapist. I'm pretty sure it's a romance. Can you love the dark when you know what it hides? Yeah, so I'm intrigued to see this one. She really enjoyed it, so I am intrigued to see if I'm going to like that one as well. I have not started it yet. I wanted to make sure I was able to purchase that first edition before it sold out. So this one was one that I stumbled upon in Barnes & Noble's because the murder mystery thriller section is where mom can keep a watchful eye on her 11-year-old son developing his independence. And I thought, oh my God, this looks kind of cool. And this is a new novelist. This is her first full-length novel. So the author's name is Jess Armstrong, and it is a mystery, The Curse of Penrith Hall. Can we also talk about something? I know that I'm getting older. It's really irritating that there's no description of the book in the back. Instead, it's all plugs for the book. And then you have to, I understand that it's all right here. I get it. But you used to be able to just like pull the book off and read a little blurb about the book. And you would know like right when you pulled the book off the shelf, like, is this going to be what I want to read? Why did we stop doing that? I digress. So this is a book about, it sounds to me like a haunted home. And there is a murder mystery. And so they're trying to figure out the curse of Penrith Hall. And it is an atmospheric Gothic mystery that beautifully brings the ancient Cornish countryside to life. You had me at atmospheric Gothic mystery and ancient Cornish countryside. So this I purchased as well, and I'll be excited to get a chance to read that too. This is a super long book haul. So that is my book haul. That's what I'm very excited to read. That's what I'm feeling inspired by. These are the friends that are keeping me company. And like I said, I'm almost done with City of Endless Night. So once I finish that, Masters of Death has to wait until I get into my new apartment for the previously mentioned reasons. I think I might start The Curse of Penrith Hall or Lady Macbeth next. I'm really intrigued with that. But the final two things on the list are two poetry books by Sharon Olds. I had not heard of the poet Sharon Olds at all. I was watching someone's Instagram story and they had a poem of hers listed. And my friends here have a volume of Bukowski poetry. And all of my poetry books are packed away right now. So, you know, and I was like, okay, how many times am I going to go into my friend's area and pull out the Bukowski book and like surreptitiously read a little bit of poetry and like try to like feel a little bit more like myself. Like I need to just buy some poetry to keep me company over the next month. And so I had seen this one poem by Sharon Olds on Instagram, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to purchase some of her books. So I really wanted Satan Says, which is her first book, for the obvious reason, and it's in colors that I love and adore. And I thought, okay, I have to get this. This was very reasonably priced on Amazon, and this was her first book of poems. And then this was also on sale as well. So I just purchased both because they were very reasonably priced. And this is The Dead and the Living. So let's just see. You know, my understanding is like she didn't want to be a confessional poet like Anne Sexton or Sylvia Plath. She wanted to be her own style of poet. So here we go, The Takers. Hitler entered Paris the way my sister entered my room at night, sat astride me, squeezed me with her knees, held her thumbnails to the skin of my wrists, and peed on me, knowing Mother would never believe my story. It was very silent, her dim face above me, gleaming in the shadows, the dark gold smell of her urine spreading through the room, its heat boiling on my legs, my small pelvis wet. When the hissing stopped, when the hole had been scorched in my body, I lay crisp and charred with shame and felt her skin glitter in the air, her dark gold pleasure unfold as he stood over Napoleon's tomb and murmured, "This is the finest moment of my life." That was on page 44. So, and that's when I buy poetry books, I don't read them through cover to cover. I have them on my shelf, and when I'm called to go to them, I just open and I read. So here's one from page 6. Photograph of the girl. The girl sits on the hard ground, the dry pan of Russia in the drought of 1921. Stunned, eyes closed, mouth open, raw hot wind blowing sand in her face. Hunger and puberty are taking her together. She leans on a sack, layers of clothes fluttering in the heat, the new radius of her arm curved. She cannot be not beautiful, but she is starving. Every day she grows thinner and her bones grow longer, porous. The caption says she's going to starve to death that winter with millions of others. Deep in her body, the ovaries let out her first eggs, golden as drops of grain. So there's something about her the way in which she is very harsh with her storytelling in her poems, that right now is kind of like, I get it, you know? And it's not necessarily a confessional style. It is a storytelling, though, through poetry that's intriguing me. And so these are my two books of poetry that are kind of keeping me companion at this time of transition. Sometimes, you know, when we have those words that can be very jarring, like even the first poem I read here from this book, there's something about that that kind of snaps you out of a sense of lethargy. Like when you've been in the Four of Knives or Four of Cups energy for too long, right? And then words like this, poems like this, they can kind of wake you up in a way. And also in a way maybe describe something that you're feeling without that being the actual description of your experience. And yet it's resonating along a line with something that also touches on a feeling of discomfort or shame or a sense of the injustice or unfairness of life at times, and the impartiality of those experiences that are lessons, right? And I don't know, there's something about the way that Sharon Olds writes that I wouldn't say she's rising to the upper echelon of my favorite poets like E.E. Cummings, but I am enjoying what her words are expressing for emotional experiences and terrains that I myself am traversing. And so it's been nice to have kind of a different poetry companion with me that is a little bit forceful in her truth telling that I'm enjoying, insofar as it's waking me up, you know? So I want my novels to be that soothing fleece blanket and wonderful cup of tea when your throat hurts, right? Or that best friend that tells you the truth that you didn't want to see or hear. But I love when my poets and the poetry that I read feel like someone has expressed something that I hadn't yet found a way to articulate within my personal story. And I think in a way I wasn't expecting, she has kind of done that for this particular juncture of my journey here at 40. So I don't know. I've been very intrigued reading her work. So let me know what you guys think. And let me know if you guys have any of these books, if you're going to be getting any after watching this, or what you guys are reading. Give me some inspiration, because I'm ready to welcome so many new friends into my new home. I'm so excited. So excited for that. So I hope you are all doing well out there in the world. If you are watching this during the holiday weekend and you are getting to enjoy a 3-day weekend, I hope you are enjoying it. I am sending you, as always, oceans of love, and I will, of course, see you in the next video. Take care.